The enemy fleet was massive beyond imagination. President Park Min-ho stood in the war room deep beneath Seoul, watching as sensors showed over 5,000 alien warships approaching Earth. The combined forces of the Vextar, Mordani, Kelthans, and their allies stretched across space like a dark cloud of death. Final defensive positions confirmed, reported General Choi Hyun-woo. We have 200 ships in the outer system, 800 more defending the orbital stations, and 400 in reserve around Earth itself. Admiral Lim Da-yoon's voice came through the communicators from her flagship. All stations report ready, Mr. President. We will hold as long as possible. Park Min-ho nodded, though she could not see him. Admiral, you have permission to begin the broadcast. Let the galaxy hear humanity's final message. The transmission went out on all frequencies, reaching every inhabited world in the galaxy. Park Min-ho's face appeared on screens across thousands of star systems. His voice calm despite the approaching doom. People of the galaxy, he began. This is President Park Min-ho of Earth. In a few hours, the largest military fleet in galactic history will reach our homeworld. They come not to negotiate or to seek justice, but to exterminate every human being in existence. On Vex Prime, High Counselor Vexmore watched the broadcast with satisfaction. Let them beg, he said to his staff. It will not save them. But Park Min-ho was not begging. You were told that humans are violent and dangerous. You were told we spread like a plague across peaceful worlds, but what you were not told is the truth about what we really are. The camera pulled back to show the war room, where humans of all ages worked frantically at their stations. Scientists, soldiers, civilians, all united in the face of extinction. We are not perfect, Park Min-ho continued. We have made mistakes. We have fought when we could have negotiated, but we have also shown mercy to enemies who showed us none. We have freed slaves while you kept them in chains. We have protected civilians while you targeted them for extinction. In the asteroid belt, Admiral Lim Da-yoon's fleet made their final preparations. Her ships were outnumbered 4-1, but they were ready to fight. Human crews said goodbye to their families through video links, knowing they would probably not survive the day. You had a choice, Park Min-ho's voice continued across the galaxy. You could have welcomed us as friends. You could have worked with us to build a better future. Instead, you chose fear. You chose oppression. And when we resisted, you chose genocide. The first explosions lit up space as the enemy vanguard met human defenders near Jupiter. Admiral Lim Da-yoon's ships fought with desperate courage, their quantum weapons disabling dozens of enemy vessels. But for every alien ship they stopped, 3 more took its place. Commander, fall back to the second line, Lim Da-yoon ordered. We cannot hold here. The retreat was orderly but costly. Human ships covered each other as they withdrew toward Earth, buying time with their lives. The enemy pressed forward, sensing victory. In her laboratory, Dr. Han Yuna made final preparations for the Genesis Protocol. Around her, dozens of scientists worked to complete humanity's ultimate backup plan. It had taken years to develop, and she prayed they would never need to use it. Dr. Song, are the pods ready? She asked her assistant. Dr. Song Hae-jin nodded grimly. All 50,000 Genesis pods are prepared and distributed throughout the galaxy. Each one contains complete human genetic templates and consciousness patterns. If activated, they will create new human colonies on suitable worlds. But these new humans will be different, Han Yuna said quietly. They will be born with the memories of this war. They will know from birth that the galaxy chose to destroy us. Song Hae-jin understood the implications. The Genesis humans would not be the hopeful explorers who had first reached for the stars. They would be born for vengeance, shaped by the knowledge of their species near extinction. President Park Min-ho's broadcast continued as the battle raged closer to Earth. We gave you art, music, and literature. We offered friendship to species others ignored. We fought to free the oppressed while you profited from their slavery, and this is how you repay us. The enemy fleet reached Earth's orbital defenses. Massive space stations opened fire with weapons that lit up the night sky. Human defenders fought with extraordinary courage, knowing they were protecting not just their world, but their entire species. Sir, General Choi reported, the orbital stations are falling. Enemy forces are beginning planetary bombardment. Park Min-ho nodded. It was time for the final phase. Dr. Han, activate Genesis Protocol. Begin immediate deployment. Throughout the galaxy, hidden Genesis pods received the activation signal. On thousands of empty worlds, advanced technology began the process of creating new life. But this would not be normal human reproduction. This would be something far more dangerous. Citizens of the galaxy, Park Min-ho said, his voice now hard as steel. You have made your choice. You have decided that humanity must die, but you have made one critical mistake. On the bridge of his flagship, High Counselor Vexmore paused in his celebration. Something in the human president's voice made him uneasy. You assumed that if you destroyed our worlds, you would destroy our species, Park Min-ho continued. You were wrong. For the past decade, we have been preparing for this moment. We have seeded the galaxy with Genesis pods, devices that will create new human colonies even if every one of our current worlds falls. Dr. Han Yuna appeared on screen beside the president. Each pod contains the genetic patterns for 10,000 humans, she explained with scientific calm. But these will not be the same humans you tried to destroy. They will be born with full memories of this war. They will know that the galaxy chose genocide over peace. The implications hit alien leaders across the galaxy like a physical blow. Immortal humans born for revenge appearing on thousands of worlds simultaneously. These new humans will remember every attack on our civilians, Park Min-ho continued. They will remember every species that supported our extinction, and they will remember every act of cruelty you committed in the name of galactic peace. Outside Earth's atmosphere, human ships made their final stand. Admiral Lim Da-yoon's flagship was surrounded, its weapons damaged, its crew dying. But she refused to surrender. All ships ramming speed, she ordered. If we are going to die, let's take as many of them with us as we can. Her words were broadcast throughout the human fleet. Damaged ships turned toward enemy vessels, using themselves as weapons. The sacrifice was tremendous, but it bought precious time for the Genesis protocol to complete its deployment. The pods are active, Dr. Song reported. New colonies will begin emerging within 6 months. Park Min-ho smiled grimly. Then our work here is done. He turned back to the camera for his final words to the galaxy. You wanted to judge humanity by our worst moments while ignoring our best ones. You condemned us for defending ourselves while praising your own aggression. You called us a plague while you oppressed and enslaved entire species. Enemy forces broke through Earth's final defenses. Plasma bombardment began turning cities to ash, but the Genesis pods were already beyond their reach, scattered throughout the galaxy like seeds of vengeance. Now face the consequences of your choice, Park Min-ho concluded. You could have had us as friends, teachers, and allies. You could have built a galaxy of peace and prosperity with us. Instead, you chose fear and hatred. The transmission was interrupted as the war room shook under bombardment. Park Min-ho looked at his staff. These brave people who had chosen to stay until the end. Humanity's age of innocence is over, he said softly. The new humans will be born knowing the truth about galactic civilization. They will be patient, careful, and absolutely unforgiving. The screen went dark as Earth's communications array was destroyed. Across the galaxy, alien leaders stared at blank monitors, finally understanding what they had done. High Counselor Vexmore tried to maintain his composure, but fear crept into his voice. Find those pods, he ordered his commanders. Destroy them before they activate, but it was already too late. The Genesis pods were designed to be undetectable until activated, and activation had begun the moment Earth fell. On distant worlds throughout the galaxy, new life was stirring. Human life, but changed by the knowledge of this war. As Earth burned beneath alien weapons, the first Genesis pods completed their cycles. On a barren world in the Andromeda sector, 10,000 humans opened their eyes for the first time. But they were not children. They had the bodies of adults and the memories of a species betrayed. They knew every name, every species, every leader who had participated in humanity's destruction. And they remembered a promise their creators had made. The galaxy would face the consequences of its choice. The age of innocence was over. The age of judgment had begun. The first human colony to die was New Sol, a peaceful farming world on the edge of human space. Admiral Lim Da-eun watched the recordings in horror as Vextar planet-killer weapons turned the entire surface into molten glass. 3 million people died in minutes. They have crossed every line, she said quietly to her staff. This is no longer about politics or territory. This is genocide. In her laboratory aboard the research ship Hawking, Dr. Han Yuna worked frantically on new weapons. Her quantum cascade technology could disable ships, But it could not stop planet killers from orbit. She needed something more powerful, something that could reach across star systems and strike back. The moral restrictions are off, she muttered as she ran calculations. They want to exterminate us? Let's show them what human science can really do. Meanwhile, Quan Jiho coordinated liberation efforts from his command center on the hidden base at Wolf 359. The young tactical genius had developed a new strategy. Instead of fighting large battles, human forces would strike quickly at supply lines and command centers, then disappear before the enemy could respond. Hit them where they are weak, avoid them where they are strong, he explained to his commanders. We cannot match their numbers, but we can make them afraid to leave their home systems. His tactics were working. Human strike teams, supported by local rebels, captured 3 major Vextar supply depots in 1 week. Each victory brought more allies to the human cause. Species that had been neutral began offering secret support, but the Vextar response was brutal. For every human victory, they destroyed a civilian target. Colonies, trading stations, even passenger ships were targeted. High Counselor Vexmore's message was clear. Anyone who helped humanity would pay the price. The galaxy watched in shock as the Vextar abandoned all pretense of civilization. The same species that had condemned humans for being violent was now committing atrocities on a massive scale. This has to stop, said Morthus, the Mordani counselor, during an emergency council session. We cannot allow this slaughter to continue. The humans started this war, Vexmore replied coldly. Now they must face the consequences. But many council members were having second thoughts. The Cathara ambassador stood to speak, the first time his species had taken a position in decades. We have watched in silence for too long, he said in his deep, resonant voice. The Vextar claim to fight for order, but they bring only chaos. We hereby withdraw our support for the human containment resolution. Other species began to follow. The Thylorians announced neutrality. The Veltani offered to mediate peace talks. Even some Mordani colonies declared independence from their own government. Admiral Lim Dayun used this political chaos to her advantage. Her fleet had grown to over 800 ships as more species contributed vessels and crews. The human industrial base, spread across hidden colonies throughout the galaxy, was producing weapons and equipment faster than the Council had thought possible. Admiral, her intelligence officer reported, we have a priority target. The Vextar are gathering their remaining planet-killer weapons at Omega Station. If we can destroy that base, we can end their genocide campaign. Omega Station was the most heavily defended position in Vextar space. It sat at the center of an asteroid field, surrounded by thousands of automated defense platforms. The station itself was the size of a small moon, armed with enough firepower to destroy an entire fleet. It's a trap, warned Commander Oh Sung-ho. They know we have to attack that station. They will be waiting for us. Then we give them what they expect, Lim Da-un replied with a cold smile. But not the way they think. The attack on Omega Station began as a traditional assault. Human warships jumped into the system in full formation, their weapons blazing. The Vextar defenders responded exactly as expected, concentrating their forces to repel the obvious threat. But the real attack came from inside. Jiang Subin's smuggling network had spent months infiltrating the station, disguised as maintenance workers, traders, and even prisoners. When the external battle began, they struck from within. All teams, go, Jiang Subin whispered into her communicator. Explosions erupted throughout the station as human saboteurs destroyed critical systems. The massive defensive grid went offline. The planet-killer weapons were permanently disabled. And the station's command center found itself under attack from its own maintenance staff. Outside, Admiral Lim Da-yun's fleet pressed their advantage. With the station's defenses down, human ships closed in for the final assault. But instead of destroying the station, they boarded it. Surrender now and live, Lim Da-un broadcast. Continue fighting and face the consequences. Most of the Vextar garrison surrendered, but their commander chose to fight to the end. He was found dead in his command center, having destroyed himself rather than be captured by humans. The victory at Omega Station marked the turning point of the war. With their planet-killer weapons gone, the Vextar could no longer threaten civilian populations. More importantly, the galaxy had seen human forces show mercy even to their worst enemies. They could have killed everyone on that station, observed a Thylorian news reporter. Instead, they offered surrender terms and treated prisoners with honor. Perhaps we have misjudged this species. But Vexmore was not ready to accept defeat. If he could not win through military force, he would try one final gambit. He contacted the other major powers and proposed a desperate alliance. The humans must be stopped at any cost, he argued. If we do not unite now, they will conquer us all. Some species agreed. The Mordani government, afraid of losing control, committed their remaining fleets to one final offensive. The Kelthans, worried about human expansion, sent their elite squadrons. Even some neutral species provided support, believing that humanity had become too powerful. The largest fleet in galactic history began gathering at the edge of human space. Over 5,000 warships from a dozen species, all united in their fear of human ambition. Their target was obvious: Earth itself. President Park Min-ho received the intelligence reports with grim acceptance. "How long do we have?" 2 weeks, maybe 3, General Choi Hyun-woo replied. "They are being careful, making sure all their forces are coordinated before they attack." Dr. Han Yu-na entered the briefing room, her face pale with exhaustion. "Mr. President, I have finished the final protocols. If Earth falls, humanity will survive. But the cost..." She could not finish the sentence. Park Min-ho understood. The Genesis Protocol, their ultimate backup plan, would save the human species but change it forever. "Prepare the defenses," he ordered. "Every ship, every weapon, every person who can fight. If they want Earth, they will pay for it in blood." Admiral Lim Da-un brought her entire fleet back to defend the homeworld. The hidden colonies provided every ship they could spare. Allied species sent their best warriors. Even the Kethara, neutral for centuries, contributed their mysterious but powerful vessels. The final battle was coming. Humanity would make their last stand at Earth, the world where their species was born. Win or lose, the galaxy would never be the same. President Park Min-ho stared at the emergency message from the Galactic Council station. The hologram showed Kim So-ra's face, tired and worried. Her words made his heart heavy. "The vote was 847-1 against us," she said. "They want us contained in 30 days. Ambassador Lee is being held as a hostage, Mr. President. They plan to cut us off from the galaxy completely." Park Min-ho turned off the message and looked around the war room deep under Seoul. The Global Defense Council was already gathering. General Choi Hyun-woo entered first, his uniform neat despite being called from sleep. Dr. Han Yuna came next, still wearing her lab coat from the research center. More leaders arrived quickly, each one looking grim. "How bad is it?" asked General Choi as he took his seat. Park Min-ho played the message again. The room fell silent as they heard the details. When it ended, several people spoke at once. "This is insane," said Defense Minister Kim Jae-hyuk. "They cannot just imprison an entire species." "They can if we let them," replied General Choi. "What are our military options?" Dr. Han Yuna pulled up a hologram showing human space. Red dots marked human colonies, while blue areas showed Council territory. "We have 237 worlds and about 400 million people spread across them. Our fleet has 198 combat ships, mostly destroyers and frigates." "Against the entire galaxy?" asked Foreign Minister Lee Soo-jin. "How many ships do they have?" "The Vextar alone have over 3,000 warships," General Choi answered. "Add the Mordani, Kelthans, and others, and we are looking at maybe 15,000 enemy ships." The room fell quiet again. Everyone understood the math. Humanity could not win a direct fight. "There has to be another way," Park Min-ho said. "What about negotiations? Can we offer them something?" "They do not want to negotiate," said Dr. Han Yuna. "They want us gone. But maybe we can give them what they think they want while preparing for what comes next." She stood and walked to the display controls. New images appeared, showing star maps that looked different from the official ones. "For the past 15 years, I've been working on a special project. We call it the Colonial Development Initiative." The map showed hundreds of small red dots in empty space, far from any known trade routes. "These are not on any council records. We have been secretly establishing research stations and small colonies in unexplored systems. Right now, 127 of these sites are fully operational." Park Min-ho leaned forward. "How many people?" "About 2 million total," replied Yoon Tae-min, who had just entered the room. He was the head of the secret program. Small communities, but each one has manufacturing capability. They can build ships, weapons, and equipment without anyone knowing. General Choi studied the map. This changes things. If the Council blockades our known worlds, these hidden colonies can keep working. Exactly, said Dr. Han Yuna. But there is more. We have not just been building colonies. We have been building alliances. She changed the display again. Now it showed alien species in Council space, many of them marked with green symbols. These species are unhappy with Council rule. The Zilani are basically slaves to the Vextar. The Velok lost their homeworld to Mordani expansion. Dozens of smaller species get pushed around by the big ones. And they trust us? Asked Park Min-ho. We have been helping them quietly for years, Yoon Taemin explained. Medical supplies, better tools, sometimes weapons for self-defense. They see us as friends, not conquerors. Dr. Han Yuna smiled for the first time that day. Mr. President, the Council thinks we are just violent and stupid. They have no idea how well we plan ahead. Park Min-ho felt a spark of hope. What do you need from me? Time and permission, she replied. We need to appear to cooperate while actually preparing for war. Some of our people will have to be moved from the known colonies to the hidden ones. Our fleet will need to disappear into deep space, and we need to activate every ally we have made. General Choi nodded slowly. A fighting retreat. Make them think they are winning while we prepare the real battle. How long do we have? Park Min-ho asked. The blockade starts in 30 days, Dr. Han Yuna said. But once it begins, they will realize we are not as helpless as they think. I estimate 6 months before full war breaks out. Park Min-ho thought about his decision. If he agreed to this plan, millions of humans would die. If he did not agree, humanity would become prisoners in their own worlds, slowly dying as the Council controlled every aspect of their lives. What about our people on Council worlds? He asked. The resolution says they have to come home. Some will, Yoon Taemin said quietly. Others will disappear, change their names, hide among friendly species, continue working for us from the shadows. We have networks the Council has never suspected. Foreign Minister Lee Soo-jin shook her head. This is asking people to abandon their families, their lives. The Council already made that choice for them, General Choi replied firmly. Now we give them a chance to fight back instead of just accepting it. Dr. Han Yuna activated another display. There is one more thing. My quantum drive research has made a breakthrough. We can build weapons that disable ships without destroying them. When this war starts, we can show the galaxy that we fight to free people, not kill them. Park Min-ho stood and walked to the window. Outside, Seoul's light stretched to the horizon. Somewhere up there beyond the sky, alien fleets were already moving toward human space. In 30 days, this peaceful night would be a memory. He turned back to his advisors. Dr. Han, how sure are you that this plan will work? Nothing is certain in war, she replied honestly. But the alternatives are surrender or extinction. At least this way we fight on our terms. Park Min-ho nodded. Then we fight. Send the orders. Begin evacuating non-essential personnel from border worlds. Move our fleet to the hidden bases. And contact every ally we have. As the meeting broke up, Dr. Han Yuna approached him privately. Mr. President, there is one more thing. A final option if everything else fails. What kind of option? She hesitated. Something that would ensure humanity survives even if Earth falls. But it would change us forever. I hope we never have to use it. Park Min-ho looked at her serious face. Whatever it takes to protect our people. Outside the window, the first transport ships were already lifting off, carrying families away from the border worlds. The evacuation had begun. In 30 days, the galaxy would learn what humanity was really capable of. Ambassador Lee Woo-jin walked through the massive halls of the Galactic Council station. The building was huge, bigger than any city on Earth. Strange aliens from hundreds of worlds moved around him, their voices creating a buzz that echoed off the crystal walls. Woo-jin had been Earth's representative for 3 years, but today felt different. Today felt dangerous. His assistant, a young woman named Kim So-ra, walked beside him. She was Earth's military advisor, though she looked more like a college student than a war planner. Her tablet showed the meeting agenda, but something was wrong. The usual trade discussions and border talks were gone. Instead, there was only one item, the human question. What do they want to discuss about us? Woo-jin asked as they entered the main chamber. Kim So-ra shook her head. My contacts won't say. But 3 species requested emergency sessions yesterday. The Vextar, the Mordani, and the Kelthans all filed formal complaints. The council chamber was enormous. Thousands of seats rose in circles around a central platform. Today, almost every seat was filled. Wu Jin had never seen so many species in one place. The air felt thick with tension. High Counselor Vexmore, leader of the Vexstar Empire, stood at the center platform. His species looked like giant lizards, but they were smart and cruel. They controlled 40 star systems and had the biggest military fleet in the galaxy. When Vexmore spoke, others listened. Fellow beings of the galaxy, Vexmore began, his voice booming through the chamber. We face a threat unlike any we have seen. A species that spreads like a plague across our peaceful worlds. A species that knows only violence and conquest. Wu Jin felt his heart sink. They were talking about humans. The species called humanity, Vexmore continued, has expanded to over 200 worlds in just 50 years. They build weapons instead of art. They fight instead of negotiate. They are dangerous and they must be stopped. Counselor Morthus of the Mordani stood next. Her people looked like tall, thin humans but with blue skin and large black eyes. They were known for being logical and careful. Our studies confirm the Vexstar concerns, she said in her cold voice. Humans show patterns of aggression that exceed safe levels. They have started 12 conflicts in the past decade alone. Wu Jin wanted to stand and argue, but protocol required him to wait for permission to speak. He watched as more species joined the accusations. The Kelthans talked about human mining operations. The Zalari complained about human trade practices. One by one, they painted humans as monsters. Finally, High Counselor Vexmore called for Earth's response. Wu Jin stood and walked to the speaking platform. The chamber fell silent. Thousands of alien eyes watched him. Honored counselors, Wu Jin began, humanity has always sought peaceful relations with all species. Yes, we have expanded quickly, but we have never taken worlds that belong to others. We have built our colonies on empty planets that no one wanted. Empty. Vexmore's voice cut through the air. You took 17 worlds that we had marked for future expansion. Those worlds had no life on them, Wu Jin replied. No colonies, no bases, no signs of any claims. We followed all galactic laws about new settlements. The law is not enough, Morthus said. Your species breeds too fast and spreads too far. You will consume everything if left unchecked. Wu Jin tried to stay calm. We have never attacked another species first. Every conflict you mentioned was started by others who tried to take our worlds or our ships. Lies, hissed Counselor Kelthan. Your people destroyed our mining station at Kepler 7. After your station fired on our civilian transport, Wu Jin shot back. We have the recordings. Your people started that fight. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Aliens shouted in dozens of languages. Some supported the humans, but most seemed to agree with the accusations. Wu Jin realized this was not a trial. This was a lynching. High Counselor Vexmore raised his hand for silence. The evidence is clear. Humanity is a threat to galactic peace. Therefore, the Council will vote on Resolution 447 Alpha, the Human Containment Protocol. Kim Sora quickly explained the resolution through her translator device. Wu Jin felt sick as he heard the terms. All human worlds would be placed under galactic supervision. All human ships would be limited to their own systems. All human technology would be shared with Council inspectors. And all humans living on non-human worlds would be relocated back to their home systems. This is not protection, Wu Jin said loudly. This is imprisonment. You are punishing us for being successful. You are being contained for being dangerous, Vexmore replied. The vote begins now. One by one, species cast their votes. The Vexstar voted yes. The Mordani voted yes. The Kelthans voted yes. A few smaller species voted no, but they were quickly drowned out. Even species that had good relations with humans seemed afraid to stand against the majority. The final count was devastating. 847 votes for the resolution, 1 vote against. Only the mysterious Cathara abstained from voting, their representative saying nothing. The resolution passes, Vexmore announced. Humanity has 30 standard days to comply with all terms. After that, a full blockade will enforce compliance. Wu Jin felt the world spinning around him. In 30 days, every human world would be cut off from the galaxy. Human ships would be destroyed if they left their systems. Human families living on other worlds would be forced to leave everything behind. This is wrong, he said, but his voice was lost in the noise of the chamber. As the session ended, Kim Sora grabbed his arm. Sir, we need to leave now. They hurried toward the exit, but security forces blocked their path. Ambassador Li Wu Jin, said the guard, a tall Mordani officer. By order of the Council, you will remain on this station until compliance is confirmed. Wu Jin realized they were not just blocking human worlds. They were taking hostages. You cannot hold me here. I have diplomatic immunity. Not anymore, the guard replied. The resolution ended all special privileges for humans. As they were escorted to detention quarters, Kim So-ra whispered urgently into her communicator. Emergency Protocol 7, she said in Korean. The vote failed. Begin Phase 2 immediately. Wu Jin looked at her in surprise. Phase 2? What was she talking about? Kim So-ra met his eyes and gave a small smile. Sir, they think they know everything about humanity, but they have no idea what we have been preparing for. Outside the station's windows, the stars looked the same as always. But Wu Jin knew that everything had changed. The galaxy had chosen war over peace. Now humanity would have to show them what that choice really meant. Yang Subin looked like any other trader in the busy markets of Vex Prime, the capital world of the Vextar Empire. Her clothes were simple, her ship was old, and she carried the same tired expression as thousands of other merchants trying to make a living. No one would guess that she controlled the largest smuggling network in the galaxy. Her communicator buzzed with a coded message. The time had come. After years of preparation, the human underground was ready to act. Attention all units, she whispered into her hidden transmitter. Phase 2 is active. Begin operations immediately. Across the galaxy, her words reached hundreds of people. Some were humans who had chosen to stay behind on alien worlds. Others were friendly aliens who had been waiting for this moment. All of them had one thing in common. They were tired of Council oppression. On the mining world of Keltar 7, a young Zilani named Vexka received the signal. His people had been slaves to the Vextar for over a century, forced to work in the dangerous crystal mines. But 3 years ago, human traders had secretly given them something precious, hope, along with weapons and communication devices. Vexka looked at his fellow workers, all thin and exhausted from years of hard labor. Tonight we take back our world, he said quietly. The Zilani uprising began at midnight. Using human-made plasma cutters, they broke their chains and stormed the guard towers. The Vextar overseers, fat and lazy from years of easy control, were caught completely by surprise. Within hours, the slaves had taken control of the entire mining complex. Similar revolts began on dozens of worlds. The Veloke, who had lost their homeworld to Mordani expansion, attacked shipping lanes with small fighters provided by human smugglers. The Kethara, long neutral in galactic politics, suddenly announced they were joining humanity's side. Even some Mordani colonies, where local commanders disagreed with their government's policies, declared independence. High Counselor Vexmore watched the reports with growing anger. How is this possible? He demanded. These species were under control. They had no weapons, no organization. His intelligence chief, a thin Vextar named Korthis, shifted nervously. Sir, it appears the humans have been organizing this for years. Our sources show evidence of secret meetings, weapon transfers, and communication networks we never detected. Impossible, Vexmore hissed. Humans are too stupid and violent to plan anything this complex. But the evidence was clear. Every uprising was coordinated. Every rebel group had modern weapons. And every attack targeted Council military assets while avoiding civilian areas. On the Council station where Ambassador Li Wu-jin was held prisoner, alarms began blaring. Kim So-ra, who had been moved to the same detention area, smiled as she heard the sounds of battle. What is happening? Wu-jin asked. Commander Oh Seung-ho is coming to get us, she replied calmly. The commander was leading a small force of human special operations soldiers. They had arrived on the station disguised as maintenance workers, using fake identities provided by Jiang Subin's network. Their ship was registered as a Cathara trader, complete with forged documents and altered biosignatures. Oh Seung-ho moved through the station's service tunnels with practiced skill. His team had studied the layout for months, waiting for this moment. They knew exactly where the humans were being held, and they knew the station's security weaknesses. Team 2, cut the power to Section 7, he whispered into his comm unit. Team 3, create a distraction at the main docking bay. The plan worked perfectly. As explosions echoed from the docking bay, security forces rushed to investigate. Oh Seung-ho's team reached the detention area without being detected. The guards were young Mordani soldiers, nervous and inexperienced. They surrendered without a fight when faced with human weapons they had never seen before. "Ambassador, we are leaving," Oh Xiong-ho said as he opened the cell doors. "How many ships do you have?" Wu Jin asked as they ran through the corridors. "Just one," the commander replied, "but it should be enough." Their ship was indeed small, but it was equipped with the latest human stealth technology. As they lifted off from the station, Council sensors could barely detect them. By the time the station's defenses activated, they were already jumping to hyperspace. "Where are we going?" Kim Sora asked. "First to Kepler 442b to pick up intelligence data," Oh Sung-ho explained. "Then to Admiral Lim Da-Yoon's fleet. She is coordinating our military response." Admiral Lim Da-Yoon commanded the largest human fleet ever assembled. Hidden in the empty space between star systems, her ships had been gathering for weeks. What started as 198 warships had grown to over 400, as hidden construction facilities worked around the clock. "Admiral," her communications officer reported, "we are receiving confirmation signals from 67 worlds. The uprisings are successful." Lim Da-Yoon studied the tactical displays. The galaxy was in chaos, but it was controlled chaos. Every rebellion had been planned and coordinated. Every target had been chosen carefully. "What about casualties?" she asked. "Surprisingly low on both sides," her intelligence officer replied. "The rebels are using non-lethal weapons whenever possible. They are following human rules of engagement." This was crucial to the plan. Humans needed to show the galaxy that they were liberators, not conquerors. Every rebel group had been trained to capture rather than kill, to protect civilians and to offer surrender terms to enemy forces. The strategy was working. News reports across the galaxy showed human-backed rebels treating prisoners well, sharing food with civilian populations, and protecting holy sites and cultural centers. This was very different from the violent savages the Council had described, but the Council was not giving up easily. Vexmore ordered full military deployment against the rebel worlds. "Crush them," he commanded. "Show the galaxy what happens to those who oppose us." The first major battle occurred at Zelkara, where Velok rebels had taken control of a vital supply depot. A full Vextar battle group jumped into the system, expecting to find poorly armed insurgents. Instead, they found Admiral Lim Da-Eun's task force waiting for them. "This is Admiral Lim Da-Eun of the Earth Defense Force," she broadcast on all frequencies. "You have entered a liberated system. Surrender now and your crews will be treated with honor." The Vextar commander laughed. "You think your tiny fleet can stand against the might of the Empire?" "Let's find out," Lim Da-Eun replied. The battle was short but decisive. Human ships equipped with Dr. Han Yuna's quantum cascade weapons disabled the Vextar vessels without destroying them. The enemy crews found themselves stranded but alive. Their ships powerless but intact. "Impossible," the Vextar commander whispered as he was taken prisoner. Lim Da-Yoon visited him personally on her flagship. "Commander, your people told the galaxy that humans are violent and cruel. But look around you. Your crew is alive, your wounded are being treated, and your ships can be repaired. This is how humans fight." The captured commander stared at her in confusion. Why not just kill us?" "Because we fight for freedom, not revenge," she replied. "Though if you continue to oppress innocent species, that might change." News of the battle spread quickly. The mighty Vextar fleet, defeated by humans who chose mercy over murder. More species began to join the rebellion. Even some Vextar colonies declared independence from their own empire. But Vexmore was not finished. If he could not win through normal warfare, he would escalate beyond all limits. He gave orders that chilled even his own supporters. "Deploy the planet killers," he commanded. "If we cannot rule the galaxy, we will cleanse it of this human infection."